Social learning, cognitive family counseling. The definition of social learning cognitive family counseling is the learning process in social behavior which states new behaviors can be acquired by observing and imitating others. Cognitive behavioral family therapy, also known as CBFT, has been used in hands-on based interventions and programs. CBFT combines behavior and cognitive approaches and applies them to family systems. Due to its constant evolution and flexibility in the programs, CFBT can zero in on more specific problems within the family units and helping them alter their family interaction styles. The key founder for social learning was Albert Bandura. He is the youngest child of six. After high school, he went to the Yukon where he was exposed to lots of people that had addictions with heavy drinking and gambling problems. This is where he decided that he wanted to study psychopathology. He moved to the U.S. in 1949 and started expanding more with representation and reciprocal determinism. He brings out his own motivation and his theory. B.F. Skinner talked a lot about stimulus response that describes language use and development and used operant conditioning. Pavlov did classical conditioning, which we learned about in our other psychology courses. These theories were later developed into social learning. For compare and contrast, social learning looks at how behavior is learned as well as performed. The role of the modeling process is a way of learning a behavior. The importance of the thoughts of the individual while learning and performing will influence their performance. Self-efficiency belief can carry out behaviors. Cognitive theory looks at roles of belief systems that influence behavior shaped by family, culture, and individual experiences. Social learning versus cognitive learning provides a positive model that if a person can learn one behavior, they can learn another positive one. For treatment, the focus of CBFT has been to increase the parenting skills of the families while also creating positive family interactions, which we have learned through our trauma-informed care courses, how important that can be to the expansion of their well-being, of their complete demeanor. CBFT has proven itself to be effective for families to conduct problems such as oppositional defiant disorder, also known as ODD, child anxiety, depression, pediatric obsessive compulsive disorder, POCD, and pediatric bipolar disorder, eating disorders, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, also known as ADHD, and trauma symptoms. Some more of the techniques is the brief description for classical conditioning in families is used to associate a person with gratifying behaviors such as a pat on the back or a kind word after they go ahead and perform something that you wanted them to do. Positive reinforcement is basically what it says it is. A positive reinforcer is usually a material, food or money, or like a toy or something that they really want. Or a social action, a smile or praise or going to go do something that increases desired behaviors. Say you want to go ahead and get your kid to clean their room. You go ahead and kind of use a little bit of bribery and say, hey, I'll go ahead and take you out to McDonald's, or we'll go to the park, or we can go get that toy that you really wanted. That's kind of the same thing about positive reinforcement. Extinction is the process by which previous reinforcers of an action are withdrawn so that the behavior returns to its original level. Timeout. Timeout is pretty self-explanatory as well. It's a process that involves removing the child from the environment in which they had been reinforced for certain actions for a limited amount of time. They said in my findings that approximately 5 minutes, but then in other findings I found that you go a minute per year. So I kind of seen both ways. I personally have went for a minute a year up until 10, and then after they're 10 years old, then I just stay at 10 minutes, because after 10 minutes then it's kind of like they don't even understand what they're doing there anymore. For grounding, is kind of when you move up in age. It's a disciplinary technique used primarily with adolescents and teenagers, younger adults if they're living in your home under, your rules, your conditions, still going to college. There's still rules that you can go ahead and obviously kind of imply, and then grounding is kind of more difficult as they get older, obviously. They are removed from the stimuli to limit the reinforcement from the environment. And then job card grounding is a behavior modification technique that is used with teens. This one I don't really know much about. I've never heard of it before this. In this procedure, parents make a list of small jobs that take 15 to 20 minutes to complete and are not part of their regular chores. When a problem behavior begins, the teen is given one of the jobs to complete and is grounded until the job is finished. Excuse me. Critiques. The main critique that is prominent across all the research material is critics saying Bandera's Bobble doll experiment is unrealistic, so his theories do not stick from there out. People also critique the concept that you learn by your surroundings, as in family and friends. This is because one of the main parts of the social learning theory is that monkey see, monkey do type of mindset. And critics think that there is more of a biological setting, that the behaviors are already instilled in the persona of the person from birth, which is something like they're born and they're automatically from birth deemed as being, a certain way, and they're put a label on right away. And that's kind of what is starting to change with more theories, with more experimenting, with more social interactions. We're starting to see different things coming out. Now, we'll go ahead and share a couple video clips for you guys to go ahead and watch. And then my works cited will all be sent in the presentation. And then we have for our activity, we created a Kahoot game, so that will also be sent to you. Thank you.